everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm going to show you how I made this Mermaid Pusheen squishy. So to start off with, I took some memory foam and I just started snipping away with it with my everyday scissors, making it into a round Pusheen head like shape. I made sure that I used my sharpest scissors that I could find, and these were just my plain orange scissors that I just really use for everyday things. Nothing special, you can use whatever scissors you have if you make this. You want to just start snipping away really big chunks to begin with. You want to start making smaller and smaller snips as you go along to smooth out the edge as much as possible. Once I was happy with the shape, I then moved on and made Pusheen's ears. So what I did was I took two little triangle pieces with a little rounded top, and I just glued these to the top of Pusheen's head. I actually used a hot glue gun for this, but if you have other glues such as latex glue or E6000, that will work the same. Once I glued the ears fully on, I then moved on and made the tail part of Pusheen. So what I did was I took another block of foam about the same size as the bit I used before, and I just put this up against Pusheen's head to kind of get a rough sizing. I then shaped this into a tail-like shape, and the only way that I can really explain it was kind of like a cone with a flat edge which then went up to the flat edge of Pusheen's head, if that makes any sense at all. But you kind of see what I'm doing here in the video and kind of get a rough idea of the shape that you'll need. So I just went back and forth just until it fit. Once I was happy with the shape and how smooth it was, I then went and hot glued the tail part to Pusheen's body. Again, I used hot glue, and to do this I just hold the pieces really tight together and squish them down so that I knew that they would all be stuck together. I then went in with some extra glue and just glued up any loose bits. Next, to make the mermaid tail bit, I then took a really thin bit of off-cut foam and I just cut out a mermaid tail, really. There's no other way to explain that, but I just cut a really loose shape and then went back in with small snips to smooth it out. Once I was happy with that shape, I then hot glued it to Pusheen's tail piece. To add a bit more decoration to her, I then took a really thin slice of foam again. With some scalloped edge scissors, I then cut a scalloped edge basically and made that into a really thin strip. I noticed mine was a little bit thick once testing it out around the tail, so I cut this a little bit smaller, and then what I just over the joint to disguise it a little bit and to add a little bit more detail. Once I was finally happy with the shape of Pusheen, I then moved on and started with paint. So I just took my usual puffy paint and PVA mixture to make the paint mixture that I usually use for my squishies, and I just painted this on with a wooden stick. I actually did 2 coats of the white. Once the white paint had then dried, I then moved on and mixed up a very light grey in the same way I did before, but adding a little black puffy paint also. I then painted this over the part of Pusheen's head. I did 2 layers of this in total. Whilst the grey was still drying, I then moved on and mixed up a greeny colour puffy paint mixture, just in the same way as I did the grey, and I painted her tail. Once both layers of those colours had fully dried, I then went in with my pink puffy paint just straight from the tube and just started swirling it on the detail that I put on. I didn't mix it or use a stick, I just went straight in with the tube. I also went in with the same pink puffy paint and just did the exact same on the end of the tail. Once those two pieces had dried, I then went in with the pink puffy paint and painted on the detail on the tail. After all the paint had dried, I then went in with a pencil and roughly drew out Pusheen's face, and I then mixed up a dark grey puffy paint, and with my dotting tool I just went in and painted on her face. Once her face had dried, I then moved on with some nail art pieces, and instead of using the star that's used on her face, I found this little yellow, I want to say rose, and I just thought this would be perfect for her decoration. I also took 3 little pearls, and what I did was took some E6000 and I glued these both to the top of her head. Once I let that dry for about 24 hours, my squishy was then complete. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it better that the video was actually slower than my previous videos, because I am actually really trying to explain things a little bit more. So if you have any requests at all, please leave them in the comments below. Also, I just want to say a massive thank you for 1,000 subscribers. I know we hit it about 2 weeks ago now, but I have been a little slack on the videos, but I promise to be back with loads more, and yeah. So I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!